All right, and we are ready to roll. So welcome to this week's August 21st update on the Lifeboat Academy and the progress that we have made recently. And we'll start with some introductions where we each talk to what aspect of the Lifeboat Academy is most interesting to us. And today it's going to be Roland, Jennifer, Ronnie, and me. So over to you, Roland. What is the most interesting part? Introduce yourself and what's the most interesting part of the Lifeboat Academy to you?
My name is Rola, and I am currently on the land that's being purchased by the Lifeboat Academy on South Pender Island. And the most interesting aspect of Lifeboat Academy for me today, because there's so much that it's always changing, but today it is about being able to buy land, not just here, but buy land to secure it and to put it in trust so that it's used for local food sovereignty in perpetuity. So over to the next person, I've forgotten who it is.
That would be me. I'm Jennifer Regular. I'm a caretaker intern with the Lifeboat Academy. Just a week on the job, so just still getting my feet wet. And there's so much that fascinates me also about the Lifeboat Academy. But today, like you said, about the food sovereignty, Roland, that's what's been speaking to me about how can we create that. So over to you, Ronnie.
I think today I'm feeling curious about how our work to liberate land into the commons and support local food sovereignty will inspire other people who might want to do similar things and might be looking for ways to structure their projects that are effective and collaborative and impactful. So curious about the sort of wider reach that is available and possible. Over to Ben.
Yeah, my name is Ben Cottle, and I am a caretaker farmer at the Lifeboat Academy. And what is speaking to me the most this week is I've been reading Jem Bendel's Breaking Together. And if anybody knows Jem Bendel, he's sort of the originator of deep adaptation. And Breaking Together, a lot of what I've been reading so far is the reality of the situation that we face and the psychological resistance that so many people have to that, and which we are seeing in evidence all over the place. So what's really speaking to me about the Lifeboat Academy is sort of shining the beacons, lighting the beacon for all of the people who get it and who are ready to who are wherever you are in your grief work around the reality of the situation that we face, where you at least are ready to accept reality and get to work. And so I'm really excited about how do we light that beacon and start to join forces with folks, whether they're here or wherever they happen to be, but actually, rallying the troops that way. So that's our introduction, and I'm going to go back to the slideshow, and we're going to walk through some of our latest accomplishments. But first, a reminder, what's the Lifeboat Academy all about? We are trying to create a model of resilience and regeneration at the person, place, and community level. And I think Roland and Ronnie both have alluded to this, and a model that can be replicated not just here, but in lots of other places. And what we mean by a lifeboat is really a personal place-based resilience network, a group of people that you can trust and rely on to get you through difficult times. And what we really are focused on is not a single lifeboat, but a network of lifeboats who stay connected, and where we can lend each other mutual support, both in material ways and also in how-to ways. So what we've been working on most recently has really been a focus on the outreach so that we can do the fundraising, so that we can purchase this property, so that we can liberate it into the commons and have more of an impact out there in the world. We've been working on a series of emails. We call them blurbs. It's individual kinds of, or individual invitations for timeshare croppers or investors or lifeboat mentors or lifeboat builders, because there's lots of different ways for people to get involved and find their place in the Lifeboat Academy. So those are all prepared and most of them have been sent, and the ones that haven't been sent are scheduled to go out. And Ronnie has been busily cross-posting these to all sorts of social channels, so that they're getting out not just in email but also to through different social media networks. And I've been sending to my old Emotus list as well as to the new Lifeboat list. And we also have our first round of letters of intent, which is people committing to a share purchase. And we've started to send out requests for letters of support, and that's all going quite well. And actually, I think I'll pass over to Ronnie to say we've been getting lots of responses, but we've been getting so many responses that it's hard to keep up. So Ronnie, can you give us a sort of a quick update on where we are?
Yeah, so we've had quite a number of emails from folks interested in being farmer caretakers, which is awesome and kind of funny because we started advertising for that position months ago and it was almost like crickets. So now there's all these really experienced farming and community people reaching out and wanting to get involved, which is really exciting. We've also had a number of people emailing about wanting to become timeshare croppers and have some amount of investment in the commons, which is also very exciting. And we've also had a potential offer for some already established farmers to join their farm with our farm. Won't get into much detail about that yet, but that's also a really exciting and potentially appealing offer. So there's definitely a lot happening due to our outreach, which is always really nice because we've put so much time and energy into it. So very exciting. Back to you, Ben.
So that's what we've been doing, and our next steps are really cleaning up the CRM, our customer relationship management database, so that we can keep track of all of the interest that's coming in and be able to report it. We're hoping to develop something like a dashboard where we can say, here's how many shares of timeshares we have, etc. And basically keep on keeping on, continue to respond to the interest that's coming in and continuing to send the word out. So we've also been continuing to build the relationships around Regenerate Cascadia. And this last week I met with Claire Atwell, who is one of the co-leaders of Regenerate Cascadia. And in particular, we talked about some tensions that exist within Earth Regenerators community, and kind of got the backstory on that. And it actually, I think, is an area where we can offer some support, because it sounds like there are just some normal, predictable organizational tensions as projects morph and organizations grow. And so actually we've started to adopt our new slogan. We're from the Lifeboat Academy, we're here to help. So we might be able to do some work with Earth Regenerators. We also joined the design school for Earth Regeneration, which is sort of version 2.0 of Earth Regenerators, and we're checking that out and looking for ways that we can get more involved. There's a significant overlap between the design school for Earth Regeneration and what we are trying to do, but there's also ways in which we are very complementary. So we're kind of exploring those connections. And the next step is, oh, that's an incomplete sentence. I'm scheduling a meeting with Brandon Letzinger of Earth Regenerator, of the Regenerate Cascadia project. And we're also planning to invite a sort of inner core to our 5-step DIY lifeboat webinar, including Earth Regenerators, the Design School for Earth Regeneration, Regenerate Cascadia, and the Department of Regional Bioregion Cascadia, sort of bringing together those different organizations and saying, here's what we think we have to offer. We also, in that same vein, we are still moving forward on dual podcasts, one focusing on Andy Wildman and his lifeboat journey. So basically, we will be podcasting our coaching as Andy starts to set up his lifeboat, and then also talking to Vivero recipients. Ronnie went to a meeting last week to talk a little bit about what that plan was, and came away with a lot of interest from over half of the people at the meeting were interested in being part of it. And so that's very exciting and is moving forward. And Roland and I also met with Kelly Lowe, who is a graphic designer and friend of the farm. And she's working on a property map that is, I'm looking forward to being able to present it because it's really fun and interesting. And anyhow, I'm really looking forward to presenting it. And the next steps really there, the ball is in the court for Kelly. We think that what's going to come back is probably our penultimate draft, our final for markup. And then we'll be hitting the record button this Wednesday, recording the first material that will eventually become the podcast. And we have a growing team. Not only is Jen here and established, and it's like she's been here on board for a while, but we also had Jessica, who is our new woofer, who has arrived and has had her level 1 onboarding and has just been getting to it, working in the gardens, preparing some beds, working with the chickens and the goats, scything and limbing, blackberry picking. In fact, I think that she's out blackberry picking right now, and just generally tucking into things. So that's been really exciting. And also we haven't been talking much about the farm, and in part, I think inspired by all of Jessica's work, just to kind of give you an update, we are actually doing some farming, even though we said that was not going to be our priority because we really needed to push for the outreach and the fundraising. But still, gardens are looking pretty good. They're well weeded and watered and bearing food. And we had a little bit of a chicken mite problem, and Roland and crew have successfully dealt with that. And so the chickens are all looking a bit healthier. We had major change in the chicken yard, which is also means they have all sorts of fresh fodder, fresh territory that they can be pecking on. Ronnie did some really ongoing work with Choo Choo's hoof. Choo Choo always seems to have kind of hoof issues, but we're slowly getting that back and settled. And there's been sort of opportunistic limbing and clearing happening all over the place. And so parts of the forest are really starting to look well cared for and tended. So that's all nice. And then in terms of a weekly focus, we're going to keep on keeping on with the outreach. Messages continue to go out, and more importantly, we have interest coming in. So it's about responding to that and managing it. And then the big thing, of course, is that we're planning for our August 31st removal of subjects on the property purchase. And there's some details to be put into place for that. And including that we're talking about potentially renegotiating the timeline for when things happen. So some decisions to be made and some negotiations to happen around the purchase of the property, but generally everyone is feeling, I think, pretty positive about where we are in the fundraising, and it feels like the purchase of the property is a go. I mean, never say never and always, and there's a lot of details to wrap up. I don't want anyone to interpret that as we have raised all of the money and we're ready to go. we're not there yet, but we are continuing to feel a growing sense of interest and connection to what we're doing. So it seems like this is a go. Everyone seems positive about it so far. So that's our update, and then we're going to do a little bit of I've rambled on today for the most part, because we didn't have enough time to figure out who was going to talk to what. But just to remedy that, I'm going to also go through the circle again. Roland, Jennifer, Ronnie, and back to me. Is there anything that I missed, or anything else that you want to add to the update? So over to you, Roland.
I have nothing really substantial to add. I wanted to tease out a little bit about the clearing in the forest, clearing the paths. In part, what that's also doing is that it's actually forest fire mitigation. And this week we've really been feeling the outfall of the forest fires in BC. It's been very smoky, and air quality has been low. And the work that we're doing in the forests, which we've been doing since we've arrived, is actually good for whoever is here. And it's a good way of helping to protect the forest in case, and to help prevent. So I just wanted to tease that out and say that it's really important work that we're doing on the property. So over to Jen.
Yeah, Roland, and very progressive as well. I'm celebrating this new engagement, this up level in the engagement, and the deeper connections and the expansion of the network, and people really, being attracted to this work and getting hands-on in it and wanting to connect and do more and continue with the outreach and tell all their friends. It's pretty exciting. So, Ronnie, over to you.
I don't really have anything to add. I did forget to actually say, hi, I'm Ronnie. I'm a farmer caretaker at the Lifeboat Academy. So I'm introducing myself at the end. But maybe perhaps people inferred that that's who I am. Anyway, sorry about that. Yeah, please keep sharing the materials that we're sending out to your networks. You never know who's going to be interested in what. But also, if you have anyone specific in mind for any of the opportunities that are on offer, please send them our way. We're really, really grateful for your continued support and interest in the project. Back to you, Ben.
Yeah, I think building on that, I have been reading the Jem Bendel book, which it's really validating the work that we're doing. I'm not done with the book yet. It's sort of divided into, the first half is how screwed we are, and then the second half is what we can do about it. And how screwed we are is something that I've kind of been aware of for a while. And but then it's really encouraging that the kinds of things that we're working on, where we're not simply trying to do carbon sequestration or trying to do one thing or another, but that we're actually trying to figure out, how do we work differently? How do we relate differently to nature? And how, and likewise, how sort of self-care and community care are inextricably linked to care for the land. That you can't do any one of these things without doing all three of these things. You can't do them right. You can't do them properly without attending to person, place, and community. And so, yeah, that's all very validating. So I think that's it. I'm going to go back to the slideshow just so that we can also share contact information. So if this is the first introduction to the Lifeboat Academy for you, we want to get in touch. We want to stay in touch. So feel free to reach out, friends@lifeboat.academy as our email. And you can also visit lifeboat.academy, the website, which is currently a landing page, but will soon evolve into a web page. And then, of course, we're on various social media, Facebook, Instagram, Mastodon, TikTok. And but if you just search for Lifeboat Academy in any of those places, we're the ones who come up. So I think that's all for now. and we'll look forward to giving you an update in another week. Bye for now.
Bye.